What did you make of Chandra Levy's parents' claims? I mean, what is the likelihood that there is a supposed connection between what happened to her and UFOs?
Well, thanks for having me. There is a lot of uncertainty in both her case, the circumstances that led to her killing, and UFOs. We don't know much about them. And frankly, since we don't know much about UFOs in terms of what the information the government has, then we can't really judge whether that could be a reason for killing anyone.
Let me explore that a little bit. I mean, she was involved with Congressman Gary Condit. He was on the House Intel Committee. Can we at least establish that there could have been at least some knowledge she had about the UFO programs or UFO research or what the government was looking into?
Yes, that's quite possible if he shared it with her. And also, he might have shared some classified information related to his work. But between that and killing someone for that reason, there is a big separation, because a lot of people know these classified details and nothing happens to them. So, there is too much uncertainty here, and I really am looking forward to any information we can get from President Trump's decision to release some of the government secrets about UFOs. Let's see what they say, what they entail, and then we can judge whether this case has any merit to it.
And to temper this back, whatever's released may not have any connection whatsoever to Chandra Levy, and even the investigation into the scientists may have no connection. But listen, 2026 is very different than 2001, because this is something that her parents said last night, is that at the time their daughter disappeared, so May of 2001, that you had UFO expert Dr. Stephen Green. He was about to have this news conference with whistleblowers talking about UFOs. And he apparently did have that news conference at the National Press Club in D.C. You had retired Air Force, FAA, intelligence officers. Tell us more about Dr. Stephen Greer, who was on, I think he was on Katie's show last night, and this news conference, timing of it. What do you make of it?
Yeah. His interest in the subject started when he experienced the UFO at age 8 and from a close encounter, and then at age 18 again. And since then, he was actively engaged, both in creating a center for the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, as well as in a disclosure project 3 years later, 1993. So he's very much convinced that we are being visited, as well as that the government has some secrets. Until we see the evidence, we can't really judge again whether he is right or he's just hallucinating and imagining things that do not exist. So it all boils down to, what does the government know, what is out there? And the fact that Chandra had some interaction with his interests implies that, yes, she was familiar with the narrative of asking for disclosure, with the narrative the government has some information on UFOs. But that doesn't mean that, once again, that she should be killed for that reason.
No, 100%.
Because a lot of people.
And I guess just taking a step back, one of the reasons this is so historic, what's happening right now, this is a level of transparency we have never seen before. Back in that day, was there an increased effort to make sure no information would ever come out about the UFOs or a UFO program or UFO research?
Well, there was definitely a stigma attached to discussing the subject, but moreover, there was an act of disinformation coming from government. And the question is why? Why was there an attempt to discredit this subject? Partly, obviously, there was a campaign to associate new technologies the U.S. government develops with aliens, just to discredit claims by the public that happens to notice those technologies flying in the sky.
Right.
And so that was definitely something that happened. And the question is how much credit we should give to the existence of very sensitive information about aliens or extraterrestrial. That we don't know. And hopefully President Trump's directive will shed some light on that. So let's just wait. These are all possible connections, but also they might have they might not hold water.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.